So, okay, good. So I did successfully start the recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday book launch. I'm Malika Albrecht, the founding editor of Redheaded Stepchild. We have pretty soon a new issue coming out. I'm super excited about the poets that we're able to feature. I'll let everybody know when that starts. And also just a reminder that in August, we will open to submissions again. And if you don't know, we only want poems that have been rejected elsewhere. Which, most of us know is pretty much a mainstay of being a poet. So tonight we get to celebrate Lynne Kemen, and I'm super excited about this. This is her first full-length collection, Choose for Lucy, and I do have a direct connection in the chat section where you can order the book from the Southern Collective Experience directly. And I also have a brief bio for Lynne there and her website. So if you haven't gone snooping along her website like I have, I would suggest you go visit. If you don't know Lynne, her writing has appeared in many literary journals and lots of anthologies. She also published a chapbook in 2020 by Woodland Arts Editions. That was more than a handful. And we will get to hear some poems, I think, from that as well, because that's part of the full length. She is a contributing interviewer and also essay editor for the Blue Mountain Review. And if you haven't ever looked through those pages, I would definitely suggest it. It's a culture-focused journal and just has some great interviews there and lots of good poetry. She, you wouldn't be surprised by this. She's on the board for multiple nonprofits and does a lot to create community wherever she is. She lives with her husband, William Rosso, and cats in Great Western Catskills of upstate New York. And let me make sure that, can you all see the link to the book? I will put it in there again. Lynne, I'm going to turn it over to you. I just want to thank you so much for letting us celebrate with you. Very excited to have you here.
Oh, Malika, thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here and to meet some new people and to share my book with you. And thank you for the opportunity. It's great. I'll start with the name of the book is Shoes for Lucy, and Lucy is my alter ego. And the first piece is Put Your Shoes On, Lucy. Put your shoes on, Lucy, Lucy Finch's mother said when it was time to go. Lucy preferred barefoot. Shoes came off at home or Nana and Poppy's house. Nana fussed about the cold floors in the winter, 72 degrees, plenty warm. Floors carpeted except kitchens, bathrooms. Poppy's grass incredibly soft. Lucy loved the feel of blades on toes. Shoes stayed on at Grandma and Grandpa's. So cold in the house. Windows bore rime, and anything too far from the fireplace or wood-burning stove froze. Water from the tap so cold, it was slushy. Lucy drank many glasses, even though her teeth ached. Always ginger molasses or shortbread cookies to eat with that font of water. Mom said it to people wearing shoes, like her father. And when it was time to wave goodbye, said, right if you get work. And someone else said, hang by your thumbs. Lots seemed silly to Lucy. Grown-ups always laughed, but they never told her why it was funny. Visit to both grandparents became weekly after they moved to Ithaca. Grandma and Grandpa celebrated golden anniversary, big party, cake. Grandpa stayed in his study. He'd appear, glare, retreat. Lucy and 5 of her 6 cousins outside waded in the creek, raced pieces of wood. Baby stayed in the bassinet. People said, too bad Grandpa's forgetful, hardening arteries. The party went on. Grandma enjoyed the celebration anyway. Grandma's church friends dropped by. June day and sky was what Lucy called Delaware County blue, a stark contrast to Ithaca's frequent overcast. Lucy's uncle showed movies of everyone on a portable screen. Its surface felt like sandpaper, but sparkly white. Touching it, the screen, Mother said, better not, it hurts sometimes. Okay. And my next piece is called Game of Sorry. Summer at the cabin, Grace cantilevered a human bridge. String beans, growth spurts, under quartz light, porch light, a fizz of Welch's grape soda. Quiet moment, shouting later. Rosa's building tired, hungry, the inner need to go to sleep. Blue and white check tablecloth covered with books, glasses, ashtray. Rosa's shock at losing sorry. It's not fair. And we lived in New York City for 34 years. And every time I got in a cab, the cab driver would say, so where are you from? So I guess I never really passed as being a New Yorker. But there was this wonderful, wonderful store called The Last Wound Up. And the poem tells you what it's about. Last Wound Up. The Last Wound Up, Columbus Avenue, New York City. Wind up fire trucks, sushi spinning. Nathan owned the joint, crusty, crinkly, cognizant, a crowd of toys around him. His store's sign said, don't postpone joy. Just call to the cosmos. Carpe fucking diem. I didn't listen. Arrogance leaves a stubborn scent. Long gone, the store's corpse, I still visit. The store now a cemetery of dreams. Nathan nagging me like a damn ghost of Dickens. Don't postpone joy. And my friend Laurel Benjamin, who's with us tonight, and I both write a lot of ekphrastic poetry, and usually we use prompts that are from art, from paintings or pictures, photographs. But this one I wrote after listening to jazz by Pete LaRocca. The name of his sort of signature piece is Lazy Afternoon. Late lazy morning, not quite afternoon. Pete LaRocca rocks the room. Then with percussion, Sin, and two Steves, Swallow and Con. Together, they went beyond Hitchcockian harmony. It's shadow play. Sit down, meditate, focus on the fuller brush man, a touch so light it feels transparent. LaRocca has no heavy hand. He scat sings in your head, in your ear, tickles memories of dreams. It's raining blues, drops steady, subtle. Before you know it, you're hypnotized by brushy sounds, like watching snowflakes melt on the windshield. Synesthesia blues, bloating, a 1930s film noir full of shadows. Henderson hocks his head slowly, the rock truly and surly, such sticks, soft, what light through yonder touch barely breaks. These musicians undertake the work to make it work. Buddies becoming breath to riff in rhythm. The want to whisper, fingers blistered rich and rewarding. New York Times and snow, rough cut sugar. Men cut from jazz and the blues heavy rain. I didn't start going back to school reunions, high school reunions, until my 40th. And I resisted it and I wouldn't go. And mocked anybody who went. And then I went and it was wonderful. So I wrote a poem about what it's like when you get together with your old friends. This is called Ithaca High School, class of 1969. And it was inspired by a poem called They by Nina Bogan. Already arriving, reforming old cliques, hanging with new cliques or alone, entering their adolescence, recalling glory days, reliving the worst years of their lives, were coming home. They were returning for a victory lap. They had new shapes, facelifts, capped teeth, no teeth, deep lines, silently judged, were judged. Excitedly buzzed, did you see him, her, them? He's drunk, she's gay. Remember? What the fuck happened? How did I miss that one? The one that got away, who blossomed later. What was his, her name? You don't recognize me, do you? 25, 50 years of drama, of fire, AIDS, car accident, cancer, murder, bee sting. He overdosed, went to Harvard, Yale, went to hell and back, never heard of again. He's rich, famous. She got so fat. We got so fat. She hasn't changed a bit. What was her name? Do you know that? Did you know they got together? Did you know they split? They pulled on their spouse's sleeves saying, let's go, let's go. They opened the doors, the right ones, the wrong ones. And my editor, Cliff Brooks, is very much from Georgia. And he and I were talking and he said, well, what's important to you? And what do you want? And I told him and he said, well, you sound like a Yankee. So this is called Yankee Poem. I believe that people will be hurt, that people will recognize themselves, that there will be trouble right here in River City, that I can be unreasonable, that I have to get things out or bad things happen, that I am blamed, that I am yelled at. I believe I'm going to do it anyway, that I will find Graceland, if not grace, that I will tell the truth as I know it, that I am a know-it-all, that I will often be wrong, that I will destroy friendships if I tell the truth, that I will do it anyway. And this last poem is called The Best Advice, and it was the sort of the idea behind my first chapbook called More Than a Handful. The Best Advice. August of 1969. Time for me to leave, my first year of college. Hugging my grandmother goodbye, impatient to go. Her spine bent, hands swollen and joints distorted. She slowly let me go. Just one thing, study hard, choose your friends carefully, and don't forget, more than a handful is sinful. What could she know? A woman who lived in a too small, dying hamlet, self-educated, Presbyterian, humble, and uncool. 50 years later, not a single case defies her best advice. Thank you.
Oh, Lynn, thank you so much. I didn't want you to stop. I wanted you to keep going.
Oh,
You know, people, y'all can unmute. I'm so glad that you chose the poems that you did. That was, you know, some of my favorite ones.
thank
If y'all want to take a moment and just say thank you. And I know we were, when you get the chat section, you're going to see we were all writing a couple of things at the same time, going, yes, yes, the right ones, the wrong ones. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts on a particular poem or overall?
More
I
than
just,
a handful is sinful. Well, what a brilliant line. And sound advice probably from that Presbyterian grandmother.
Absolutely.
I really liked hearing that high school reunion poem. I mean, I liked hearing all them read aloud because I haven't heard them all read aloud. Seen them in the book. But that high school one just had me in stitches.
Yeah, I like that one too.
It was definitely relatable.
Yeah. And Laurel, I think
Yeah.
I echo that because there is a difference between reading and then hearing Lynn read them for me as well. And that one stood out as one of the ones that I was like, oh yeah, I really enjoyed hearing it in your own voice. I also have to say, Lynn, I don't think I noted this when I read it, but hearing you read, I suddenly became aware of you really engage all the senses and you do have some synesthesia that happens in your phrasing of things. And I don't know how I could have missed that, but hearing you read, I was like, holy smokes, that's part of the magic of your work. And is that something you've always just kind of had or you became conscious of? Or I really have to know what?
Yeah, I guess these days I'd probably be called neurodivergent.
Yes.
But compared to what? I mean, it seemed perfectly normal to me, but I could tell from the way other people reacted that it wasn't always normal.
Yeah, so maybe that's what I'm picking up on is there's just there's a slant to some of them that took me a moment and I was like, that is fascinating. And you have a lot of tactile experiences in your poem, and I don't think that I was quite as aware. But tonight I really was. I was like, holy smokes, there's a lot of tactile and temperature, not just, visual images or auditory or even olfactory, but I mean tactile. And I really enjoy that. I think it's one of the things that is very special and unique about your work. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. Yeah, where does the name Lucy come from? The irony is that's what Regina said, that's what her sisters call
Yep. Well,
her.
there was a song in the 1920s called "Put Your Shoes On, Lucy. You're coming to the city now." And so my mother spent most of her life singing phrases of songs, and that was one that she always did. And I was like, what does it mean? But
Well, that's a better backstory for your Lucy.
yeah.
My Lucy comes from Charlie Brown and my sisters.
Oh, right.
I was
That was,
Boston.
yeah.
I'm the oldest, and they call me Lucy.
Oh. And are you?
I don't think so. But the oldest bears a lot of responsibility.
That's what I was just gonna say, you're an oldest, aren't you?
Yep.
Same, I'm feeling you. Regina, I hope that your Lucy is inspired by Lynn's Lucy to have an alter ego section of poems.
Right.
But
Okay. That's something that is an inspiration. I actually, when you said that, that was your alter ego, I was like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to write in the voice? Because I think a lot of us have one.
Yes.
This my alter ego is actually I call her Lil Gina. Lil apostrophe Gina, Lil Gina. And
Oh,
there was actually a period of time where, it was a hashtag on Facebook. My friends would call me that too. So Lil Gina. Yeah.
I love that. And you know what it suddenly reminded me of is we did feature Carolyn Wright and Lynn Levin with poets and their alter egos
uh,
a while back. And it'd be interesting to have correspondence between poets and their alter egos, writing poems back and forth to each other. I don't
That
know
would
what
be
made me think of
fun.
that. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Oh, RJ also put an "Are you?" We got the answer to that question. That's so funny. Are you bossy, Regina, is what, um, yeah, I think oldest
Some
always
people
have that.
say that, but I don't necessarily think I am. I just think things need to be done right.
And the eldest, that's kind of our thing. And there's actually a book called The Birth Order Book that talks about, some of those things. But so, when did you start writing the Lucy
Yes.
poems, Lynn? Just out of curiosity.
Um, very late, very, like in the last year,
Yeah.
but it, it seemed easier to write about somebody else instead of me and and so, I came up with Lucy, and my husband is Benjamin, and his name is Bill, but, we use the same letters, but it's
Yeah.
easy to talk about things that way, I think, sometimes.
Well, I
And
think that's an interesting thought of like stepping back a little bit or a different angle, maybe.
mhm,
Um, and it seems like ekphrastic work can do that same thing. And it's also how I've heard some people talk about forms is that there's like a container, a different container, or there's a different way of accessing material or how we write, maybe how we approach it.
right, well, you have a queen of ekphrastic work here. Laurel Benjamin is,
Ah, yay.
she and I do ekphrastic at least once a week and with groups. And my friend Lisa's here, and she and I are in another writing group. So I'm afraid those two have heard everything that I read, but before, no? Okay.
Yeah,
Not,
both of
not,
them are
not
saying
at
no.
all. Not at all. I think it's interesting. I wasn't aware. I came in a few minutes late trying to figure out how to get on. And
Mhm.
I've heard some, I've heard more than a handful. I could hear that one many, many times more. But that you're clearly so much in your Lucy poems, but it's interesting to hear you speak of them almost like an ekphrastic poem. Um, I found, yeah, I just found them. I mean, I've heard a lot of your poetry, but as Malika was saying, they're so rich. And your
Mm.
memory is quite a mind, whether it's your memory or memory that becomes something else. But I just feel it's so authentic, and I always want to be. I am in your poems, but I want to be in them. It's like those rooms and the even the reunion, which I have never been to one of my reunions, but it made me, and I do think of them sometimes. It would be nice, but it's like, yeah, they're also fascinating. So yeah, I really enjoyed them.
Well, something that you said, Lisa, I think is bears repeating is I want to be in them. And I am not sure that, but you seem to be voicing something that I experience with Lynn's work is I have a curiosity about what she's going to say next. And I don't necessarily, it's something that I have when she reads too. There's a curiosity, there's an invitation, and it's one that's pretty easy to say yes to. And I think that's kind of what you're expressing.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think they also were well read, not surprisingly, but they seemed to really there was an ease to them, which I think um, I see more and more. These really, you seem to be really mastering that, Lynn. So it was nice to see the
Well,
ease. You make it look easy, and everybody knows it's not.
I wish I could memorize my poems and just get up and, do what storytellers do. Because
we, you know,
that's the next step.
Mhm.
Tony Abbott, a lovely North Carolina poet, memorized so much of his work, and I sincerely had such admiration, because I would love to do that, but my brain is a squirrel. I can't even remember a grocery list, so it's not happening. But I admire people that do that, and I think you read lovely. Yeah. Oh, RJ, you have your hand raised. Yep. Thanks, Karen. I wasn't even go ahead and unmute and jump in.
Thank you so much, Lynn. I want to say how thrilled I am for you, how proud I am of you, and how lovely your readings are. You say, the way you read your poems is the way I hear your poems. So I guess I recognize your voice not only paper, but in your own voice. Just lovely work. I'm so thrilled. You so deserve this. And also, more than a handful is sinful. I'm going to borrow that forever and use it in any context I possibly can at any time and occasion. It's a
Please
lovely
do.
line. Now I'm going to put you on the spot. You know, I do the author to author interviews every week.
Right?
With Bill, co-host and producer. So I'm going to ask you this question. As you know, I ask everybody this that I care about in their work. You've been writing a long time. You've done a lot of writing. You're an incredible editor. So if writing has taught you anything, all the writing you've done about the craft and life itself, what is it? I'm dying to know.
Oh, boy, talk about putting somebody on the spot. Well,
Sorry, apologize.
true confession, I started writing probably when I was in junior high school, and I wrote until my junior year of college, and then somebody said something unkind, and I decided I would show him. And so I didn't write for 50 years and 40 years, I guess. Anyway, I've been writing again for almost 5. Lisa, is it 5? I think it's 5.
At least, but with the way you write, I double that, Lynn, make that 10.
Anyway,
And
anyway, I did not write for a very long time. And then the writing group that Lisa and I are in, which is called Seeing Things, and we're about to go into our 12th iteration of it. We do
Wow.
like it's,
Congratulations.
yeah. So that was a safe place, and I stuck my toe in the water, and I really expected there to be a snapping turtle there. I was like, oh, I don't know. And then, I remembered how much fun it is to write. So
I'm
I
so
don't
glad
think
you got back
I'm
to
the
it.
original poet who, has been writing all along. So I'm sort of dancing around the question, but
So what has it taught you, Lynn?
it's taught me
Most.
that you can access so many memories, that you look at things differently, that you listen to things differently. If you're sitting on a bus, which I did for years, you want to eavesdrop. You want to hear what people are talking about. You want to hear how they use words. You want to hear their language. If you take a walk in the woods, it's like, oh, well, what am I seeing? And you put it down. It's much more specific. I think that's what I've learned.
That's one of the most wonderful answers I've ever received for asking that question to literally thousands of authors, from U.S. poet laureates to publisher, to Pulitzer Prize winners. That's an exceptional answer. I'm going to remember that. We are all observers, aren't we? We really are. But we kind of
Yeah.
forget that's what we have to do to write it down.
Yeah.
I hear people say so many times, I don't fault their answers, but so many people redundantly say, taught me tenacity, it taught me how to be able to be comfortable with myself and with my writing, and, to seek out my voice. But you're right. We are observers.
Mhm.
Right. Wonderful answer. Thank you.
Well, I'm really grateful you asked that question, and it was lovely to hear your answer, Lynn. It really made me think again about, insatiable curiosity and being present, but also being able to, craft back into the past or into the future. I mean, it's a lovely way to time travel. It also made me think of what you said about your publisher and, what do you want in that poem where you're, it may hurt a friend, but I'll do it anyway. I mean, it kind of made me think about, that's kind of a Ars Poetica too, of the writing life. That poem in itself feels like kind of the why do we do it, or some kind of engagement with what it means to be a writer. Any other questions? And if
Well,
you have,
I was
yeah,
gonna
if I
say, who in their
jump
right
in.
mind would say, this is what I want to do for a job. I want to sit alone, unless you work for Hallmark and create, cards by myself, make up stuff with the audacity to think not only people might read it, but they also might buy it in a book. I mean, what person in their right mind would say, that's what I want? It's a saying I have on my social notebooks, and it goes like this, I'll paraphrase. Anyone who says that writing isn't good, honest, hard work, most certainly is not a writer. It's the toughest job in the universe, in my opinion. I'm more exhausted from writing than I am from digging 14 feet long ditches. Seriously. And you all know what
You're
I'm
not
saying, you
wrong.
writers, right?
Oh, I think yeah. I kind of want that just to sit there for a minute. It's really true. No, that's good. That is very good stuff. And yes, it is a harder job, Um, wow. Yeah, did anybody else have any questions or
Well,
comments or?
I just wanted to close that thought by saying, but how many other people, by doing this, how many people can say they can stand up from what they're doing, look down as we do as our screens and say, and this is what Brightberry did, and which kind of moved me and said, wow, what a connection. Look down and say, I can't believe they came out of my head, and it's good and I like it and I can't wait to share it. That's the gift. That is the real gift.
Yes, and I, oftentimes joke it's got that new poem smell. There's nothing better than
Yes,
that smell,
love that. I'm gonna borrow that one as well, the new folk
You
smell.
can have
I
it.
love that.
Yeah, it just makes me, that feeling is really amazing. And we know that excitement, and we can see it in somebody else when they're reading an open mic for, that poem, the very first time it gets spoken into the air is a beautiful thing.
I think it's accepting us for our
I
merit.
love celebrations.
It's so deep we go into ourselves to write. They're recognizing and saying, you got a good marrow, if that makes sense. Because could not be more exposed in our work. Everything we've experienced, like you said, and observed, Lynn, that we're expressing, we're the most vulnerable, the most at risk for criticism. So again, I want to offer to all of you, it doesn't matter what other people say about you, your work, it's just their opinion. And always write for you, not for anyone else.
And I think that's a very good point. It also circles back to Lynn's experience. That is not an uncommon thing that I have heard from people who, had a really bad experience and stopped writing for long periods of time. And I kind of feel like, we were robbed. But unfortunately that you're right, there's a vulnerability, and at the wrong moment, something can really hit us hard, and we shut down or don't read anymore or don't write. And I can remember, some grad school workshops that were pretty brutal.
And some people don't ever write again. And what a travesty to have a stranger literally take their gift. They don't have that right. Yeah, I mentor
Agreed.
coach. I'm also a writing coach and mentor. And I say to every one of my people that I mentor and my clients, like, believe in you because I do. And again, everybody has an opinion, and that's all it is.
Yep. Very true. Hey. Anybody else want to jump in or have a thought or a line you want to go back over or a question?
Lynn, what are you
Well, if
working
not,
on now?
yes, there you go.
My
I know
next
you
book,
haven't
of course.
stopped.
My next book, of course.
That's
Always
I
the
cannot
next
wait.
poem, really. It's always the next poem.
Have you got a theoretical title or a working title
No,
yet?
not yet.
Okay,
Just collecting.
I can't wait to read
Feel
it.
that.
Thank
Feel
you.
that hard. The collecting phase is always fun too. Well, we can move into open mic. I've got a small list here, and anybody that would like to, read that I haven't gotten you on the list, we will gladly add you. Regina will come to you first. and
Malika, can
cross
I
our
just
fingers.
interject real quickly? Forgive me for
Sure.
stepping on you. I just wanted to thank you for hosting this, putting together the event. You just did an exemplary job. Again, forgive me, Lynn, for being tardy. I had a meeting run late, but I'm so enjoying this. I'm guarding in my mind again. Thank you.
Thank you for
I'm
coming.
just, yeah, I'm really glad you're here. And I really, the question really got a good discussion. That's going to have me thinking for a while. You know, what is it that we learn in the experience of writing? And also the importance of staying true and writing, even when something happens. I'm so great. And it did cross my mind too, Lynn, and I didn't think to ask this, but what brought you back to writing? That's
That's
that
a good
I'm
question.
curious.
Well, I work with an organization called Bright Hill Press, which is in a huge metropolis of, I don't know, maybe 50 people, called Treadwell. And I substitute, I love the name Treadwell, so I use that. That's the alter ego for Franklin, which is where I live. But I don't know. I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
So you came back to writing
I came
with
back.
Bright Hill
Oh, yes,
Press?
yes. So Robert Benson, who taught creative writing at Hartwick College, which is in Oneonta, New York, for 32 years, was doing a writing group. And I was on the board, and they needed somebody to sort of be there and open up the building and be around to do that. So that was me.
Boy, am I grateful that happened.
Me
It's
too.
awesome.
Me too. Well, Robert Benson is an amazing man.
Yeah, well, well, serendipity sometimes brings us back. That's awesome.
Show up when you need them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Regina, we're headed towards you, and we will cross our fingers that your throat holds out. Make sure you're on mute.
Hi, everybody. So just sitting here thinking about what I wanted to read, and I've just been thinking a lot about how in this June it will be the 1 year, of my mother. My mother passed away in June of last year, and so I said, well, let me read something from the book. That's my book, The Fire Talker's Daughter, that came out last year as well. And if you know this story, you know that I talk about my mother being a fire talker. And so when I reference fire in my writing, it is sometimes physical, sometimes spiritual, and often metaphorical. This particular poem is entitled, This Fire Tastes Like. This fire won't look like the last ones did, send souls torn up, crying, wondering how to get love back, how to fix life, how to repair. The last fires tasted like loss, tasted like shame, tasted like despair, tasted like mourning, tasted like no way out, tasted like no way back, tasted like Tulsa, tasted like Elaine, tasted like Watts, tasted like Wilmington, tasted like old Epps High, tasted like all it had consumed. This fire tastes different though. This fire tastes fed up. This fire has eyes set beyond loss, beyond prison, beyond death, beyond the graves. This fire has new eyes fixed on that new Jerusalem. New fire going to propel these children into promised land. They won't need the water of the oppressors because they are children of living waters and raging fires, an earth that has promised fertility, yet pushed out weeds to choke and distract. This fire tastes different. It tastes like energy, tastes like righteous fury. Its fuel is dark kindling root. It will combust from a place so deep, so misunderstood, so underestimated that it will not be contained. This fire tastes different. It tastes like resolve. It will reject any attempts to thwart combustion, the internal combustion. It will incinerate attempts at trickery, for it has seen the video and believes. It saw murderous hubris. It saw the dead that were tried for dying. It saw the solid stance of patronizing defiance of other fires. It saw the lies stifling acrid air. This fire tastes different. It tastes alive. It will not stop until there is nothing left that can stop it. It will then scoop the ashes and build Jerusalem. Yeah, this fire tastes different. This fire tastes like revelation. This fire tastes like change. This fire tastes like hope.
Yes. This fire is always welcome. Oh, Regina, that is such a powerful poem. I think I just want to sit in it for a while. And I don't think I could get tired of this fire tastes like you could work that everywhere and it just I'll go wherever it says. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whew. Christy, you said maybe? No worries, no worries. Karen? Don't forget to unmute.
Okay. Okay. So this poem, I just pulled this out during your reading. Lynn, I really enjoyed that reading so much. And your class reunion poem just made me, I don't know, that's why I pulled this poem out. Just this is in response to thinking about an old dear friend of mine. So this is Portrait as Two Women with Horns. After reading Kate Partridge's self-portrait as Woman with Horns in Thine, I don't measure myself against Letty. We, neither of us, tuck our chins down before diving in. She does like to make a fist and raise it rather oftenly. I like to roll grapes around on my tongue. 2 days ago, Letty had flowers, bluets, loosestrife, sundrop, blood rose, and a sun rising over a mountain as she followed a trail along a ridge. I'm sure we both like biting in at some point to some similar things and relishing how sweet some juices can be. I don't know what exactly I had in the moment of her photograph 2 days ago, but I'm sure it was something to behold.
Karen, I love that poem. Oh my God.
It's a weirdo friend poem. I don't know.
I just love it though, like biting in and relishing how sweet some juices can be. I mean, you'll see in the chat section, but I was just thinking, I think part of the reason why I always enjoy our open mic is we have such creative, different humans that just come in and be themselves. And thank y'all for that because it's
Like
it's a joy.
It's your room. Your room just breathes it. This is
It's you people. I think I'm just lucky, but oh, that's awesome. Okay.
Lynn, I was going
Laurel.
to skip my reunion, but you made me want to go so I can write about some people.
right. I had the same thought. I've never gone to a reunion because I wasn't enjoying the time when I was living it in real time.
Truth.
But this has made me think, yeah, like Christy, I'm like, man, that's some good fodder there. I should probably consider
It's like
it.
going undercover as a poet. Yeah,
Right?
I mean, you got a job. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so good. I've got Laurel and then RJ, I saw your hand is up and I'm hoping that you might want to read. You can unmute and jump in if you want.
Yes,
So,
just a couple of short ones. I didn't want to stop anybody on the
okay,
list.
should I go after RJ then? Are we
No,
switching the
we'll-
order?
Please, no,
I'll-
you were first.
I'll add RJ to the list and I will come to you, Laura. We
Okay,
gotcha.
thanks. Just
Thank ya.
confusing. Inspired
Yeah,
by
no, I understand.
Regina. This is called Daughters Grieving Their Mother's Support Group. I don't know yet how the body remembers. and how I will need to be okay. Sticky red sweater, legs sweating on a faux leather chair. Leaders warm tone us to sign up for coping with the holidays. On the drive home with two members who are sisters, my purse jostles on the back seat. Anne says her play will be performed as streetlights intersect Shauna's glasses frames. Aqua segueing to pink, as if the two colors hold the memory of their red-haired, freckled mother, as if there's a description for how this will go. I think how I brought my mother's fuchsia glasses to the hospital, wonder what it means to never return home. 2 years later, no monthly meetings, no potlucks with daughter's group, no candle lighting, no caressing the smooth black rock with the word hope. Searching for a jacket, forefinger and thumb against mom's dresses pushed to the back of the closet. They clamor, here I am, jade with a wide sash, indigo with brown corduroy and cloth button closure, light cutting across her favorite, high-necked red silk strewn with white flowers, the way color struck her face. My brother and I don't know who will win arguments. I can't absorb the way he hasn't grieved. Outside, I pull oxalis, then insert rosemary and lavender, plants that will burst blue. Thank you.
Ooh, Laurel, that was gorgeous. And there are a whole bunch of comments that I want to remind you to please check the chat section because, yeah, it's tender and beautiful. And again, I was struck by, the visuals within that poem and then also tactile. That's interesting. Yep. Thank you very much, Laurel. I have Donna next and then Catherine and then RJ.
Okay,
There you are, Donna.
Lynn, you have proved that the best gossip is at class reunions and prayer meetings. I'll have to add that one to the list. This poem is called Care. There will come a time when unwanted invitations invite honest responses. Just say, I don't want to. When your dinner guest says, please don't put onions in the soup, add a silent depth of flavor. Throw in a handful of chopped leeks. Guilty pleasures? Repeat after me, not guilty. A tub of Ben and Jerry's New York Super Fudge Chunk is the treat you've been wanting since salad. Enjoy. Small print disclosures you never bothered to read, even though you signed a form attesting to having done so. So what? Because when you enter the living room to the urgency of Fox, MSNBC, CNN, reporting on a world come undone, you must tell the truth. You really don't care.
Again, oh, I love our group. Yeah, you must tell the truth. And guilty pleasures, repeat after me, not guilty.
It was sort of a timely poem. Turned out
Right? Well, no, we are gonna fly our just be ourselves flags today. This is awesome. Catherine, I have you, and don't forget to unmute, and then I will come to RJ.
I don't have one for tonight.
Don't worry about it. I had written you down. I thought you had said, yes, you are fine. I know you, I think I even said you had your nose to the grindstone and I still put your name down. Awesome. Okey doke. RJ, it's all you.
All right, thank you.
We are,
Forgive me for the disclaimer, and this is like going on stage, following George Carlin as a New York comedian. I have not done a live reading since January. Very quickly, I won't take up too much time. I had shattered my hip, and when I was in after surgery, they found something else. So I've been in hospitals and rehab since January. This is my first experience, and boy, I really know how much I missed it now, but I'm a little bit nervous, so forgive me. I've been doing this for years, but now I just started my first reading of my life, so it's two short poems. First one is dedicated to Karen Friedland, who is an exquisite poet, a dear friend we just lost. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm gonna get emotional, but here we go. It's called The Homeward Heart. There's a steady stream of salt water that flows from my eyes and cascades like a silk scarf draping over a copper cupola in the commons of a small town where I once lived and left to travel to places unknown, to a promise unmet that knows it will return when water flows over a copper cupola in a town common like a silk scarf sewn, like a scarf sewn of silk, tugging the heart always homeward.
that was powerful, RJ. Thank you so much. I mean, I think it's hard not to read a poem like that and feel the emotions. And I, admire when people allow themselves as they're reading it as the poet to feel, that truth between us. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Think you said you had one more?
Yeah, this is a guy poem. Sorry. It's about men in boats. I think I'm gonna be giving it to the city of Gloucester. Anyways, those we'll see. It's called Down to the Boats, and parenthetically, the men go. Down to the boats, the men go, the rough men, the weathered men, the men bent from the weight of the traps and nets. They cast into the sea and reel in with a look of hope for fins and claws dipped in gold. A capricious sea is where the men sail on, the rough men, the weathered men, the men bent from the weight of the traps and nets. They cast into the sea and reel in on anchored legs, the day's fresh catch, overflowing with captured hope. Thank you.
Wow, the musicality and the rhythm in that one, I so want to see that on print.
Oh, thank you. I
That
wrote
was
that washing my hands. Must be a water thing. Happens to me all the time. It's the most inconvenient time. It was done, finished. I'm rushing to dry my hands, ran back to the computer and wrote it down and never changed the line. How weird, huh?
yeah, capricious sea that cast into the sea. I mean, it's just, yeah, so much music in it. That's interesting that washing the hands, because there can be a rhythm with that too, but I don't know, maybe water brings out your superpowers.
Yeah, I've always been a
That's-
child of the sea. I really have. I live on the
yeah.
coast here in Revere. I've always been close to the coast. Yeah, it's just the sea is in me and I'm in the sea.
Yeah, I love that. Well, this is the perfect place to pause and say thank you guys so much for joining this Thursday and celebrating with Lynn and bringing poems and good questions and good, excellent company. And congratulations, Lynn.
Yes,
If you
Lynn.
want a copy of the book, you've got the link in the chat section. You can also go to Lynn's website. All right,
Okay.
everybody. We'll be taking a thank you, Laura. We're really glad you were here.
And
I'll be taking a break until August, and then we are full up for those months afterwards. We've got some fun things coming up. Oh yeah, I've got some really. We're going to have some good celebrations, but I
Hey,
am going to take a
Malika,
little.
Malika,
Yeah.
thank you for so gently bringing me back in the fold.
Oh, I'm so glad you chose us to read again. I mean, after so much, all the things you've gone through, I'm just glad that you're healing and in better health and back. And I'm really glad you came tonight because that question is going to have me thinking for a while. And
How
it,
could I
you know,
not visit anywhere where Lynn is? Please, I had
wow.
to. I had to.
Yeah.
No matter what, I had to. Spent the day with doctors again and therapists and coordinating. I'm like, well, I need to end this day on a positive note, and I got to see and hear Lynn. So thank you for making my dark day. The clouds parted. The sun is. If that's strange orb in the sky is called the sun we never see anymore. I'm in a much better place. And Lynn, I adore you. Thank you for much being such a supporter of me and my work. She's going to interview me someday. I promise you it's on the list, Lynn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Malika, particularly you, but for all of you for coming and for sharing your poetry and your thoughts. But it really is a wonderful, welcoming group. Very special.
And I want to say thank you all for sharing your lovely work. You are all exquisite word weavers. I'm going to be remembering all of your lines. I'm going to capture the text to read back to as well. So thank you for sharing your marrow.
Yeah, and I'm keeping that exquisite word weavers. I'm sorry, that's gorgeous. That's got to be our new t-shirts, Karen.
Oh, I love
You
it.
may have it
I
with my
love it.
blessings. Yep. I say it often. It's a little Jefferson came to me years ago, and I only use it in the most rarefied moments when it's absolutely merited, and it is tonight.
I mean, I can see us, our group having exquisite word weavers as our t-shirt.
I'd be
I
honored.
love it. I love it. Malika, does
All right.
everybody know where how to get to your YouTube channel so they can watch the
Oh,
replay of
you know
this?
what?
Yes,
That's a very
please.
good question. They probably don't. So it's Malika 8838, Malika 888 at YouTube, and that'll bring up hundreds of the videos that we've
So
had. And
Malika,
man, we
your
have had
voice,
some
sorry,
amazing.
Malika, your voice broke up. Your mic broke. Could you say that again, please? It broke up.
Sure. For YouTube, to see all the old videos and just to join, subscribe so you get a notification when we put another one up, it's
Huh?
Malika 888.
Oh, 8.
So just go to YouTube. Yeah, the number 8. Thank you, Regina. It's it. Put it in there, but I hadn't pushed enter. We have some amazing poets and fiction writers. We're going to have a couple more, and I'm getting ready to have a whole bunch of the Irish people that I met during the
Woo!
residency. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. So we should be, one is that I'm super excited about is anthology called Queering the Green. For queer poets after 2000, and it's a great anthology. And even though it came out 2 years ago, I still think it's one. It would be nice to have several Irish poets. So hopefully we'll be able to get that pulled off in the near future. All right, guys, be well.
Hey,
Pleasure to
yes.
see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.